What's happening, YouTube? What's happening? Sports fans, dude and dudettes, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It is 4 o'clock. It is Sunday. It is time to talk a little sports. We're going to rap a little bit with your sports guy, Kendrick. I hope you all are having a good weekend. Again, it's almost the end. It's almost time to clock that, hit that clock for Monday morning. But we're going to talk a little sports. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of go over what's happening in this past week in the sports world. We got the Olympics that started. You know, we had the official opening ceremony that jumped off on Friday, and then we had some other things that happened on Wednesday. And you know, there's a lot of talk about that opening ceremony. We're not going to talk about that here today, but we may talk about that on TFG tonight with the host Brenton Haynes, myself, Devin Devine, and Lee Black. You can catch that show at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and on YouTube. That is TFG Tonight. If you haven't, go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Make sure you follow it on Facebook. But we're going to talk on sports today. But before we get to that, it's time to enter Club Kendrick. Not Club Shay Shay, but Club Kendrick. You know what time it is. Make sure you come in, like, subscribe to the channel. That is TFG Sports Media. Make sure you comment. Don't be sitting in them bushes and don't say nothing. Let me know you watching, where you watching from. Leave a comment so we can rap a taste about what's happening in sports. Make sure you share this to all your social media platforms. I am also live on TikTok. I got some people that's already popped in the house over here. I want to thank you, David, for popping in. Gerald, Ricky, Byron Young again. All those that popped in on TikTok, make sure you tap that screen, and share the live. So, again, we're going to jump right into this thing. But again, those on YouTube and Facebook, if you're watching, make sure you comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Click that like button. And again, share this to all your social media platforms. So again, let's go ahead and jump right into this first segment. We're talking about Team USA. USA men's basketball team open pool play. They are in Group C this morning at 10:15 a.m. It was a little early. So if you didn't check the schedule, you may have missed this, but they opened up with Serbia, a team that they had an exhibition game against a couple of days ago as well. They exhibition against Germany as well and South Sudan. And by the way, we're going to talk about South Sudan because all these teams got something in common. They all are in the same group with the USA. So if you're wondering why they played those exhibition games against them outside of Germany, South Sudan and Serbia, they are in the same group with the USA men, which is Group C. Well, the USA, they got the big win today, 110-84 over Serbia. Serbia started out real well. They started out I think it was a 12-2 run in the first quarter. The U.S. would get their things together. They were in on an 11-0 run. It would kind of be back and forth, somewhat nip and tuck the first half, but then the second half, the U.S. took over. Again, they got the win 110-84. But this was a debut, too, of Kevin Durant in these Olympics. He hadn't played at all because of a calf strain. And he would come off the bench, and he would light it up. Kevin Durant was on fire. He would lead the USA men's team with 23 points. He was 5 for 5 from three-point land, and he was 8 for 9 from the field. He had 23 points, and he was shooting lights out. It was kind of like he was out there playing street ball. He definitely was in the zone. Again, he hadn't practiced with the team. He hadn't played in any of the exhibition games. So you was kind of wondering how was his game going to be? Was he going to show a little rust? And Steve Kerr let him play a little bit. He played like about 8 minutes in that first half. So he's just slowly bringing them in. But again, he led the Team USA with those 23 points. Again, he was 8 for 9 from the field, 5 for 5 from the three-point line. LeBron James, he almost had his second triple-double in his Olympic history. He's had a triple-double once before in the Olympics. He almost came close to getting his second one in his career. He had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and he looked good. I'll be honest with you. LeBron looked like he's 39, but he looked 29 today. I'll be honest with you. He looked younger. He looked fresh. He looked like he was ready to play. To me, of all the Team USA guys, I thought that he came out with the most energy, in my opinion, than any of them, outside of Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards came with that energy as well. Speaking of Anthony Edwards, he had 11 points. He was 2 for 3 from the three-point line. Drew Holiday had 15 points. He was 3 for 5 on the 3-point line. Stephen Curry, his shooting was a little off, and he tweaked his ankle a little bit too, I think, in that second quarter. But he ended up with 11 points, and he was only 3 for 7 from the field. So Team USA, again, they opened this thing up in the second half. They got the big win, 110-84. Again, this is Group C pool play. So they play everybody in their group, and then you do get awarded points for a win, and you also get awarded points for even if a loss. You get awarded and margin of loss. I think it's margin of loss. You get awarded points. But so for a win, I think it's 2 points, and you go from there. But Team USA, there's been a lot of question marks around this team. There's been a lot of comparisons of this team, and I think it's unfair to compare basketball rosters, especially Olympic basketball rosters, to the others because they all are different. They're going to come with, they're going to have their own different challenges. I think this team does have a challenge, in my opinion, watching this game. I think their challenge is going to be inside, their toughness inside. They big men, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo. I think size-wise, they're not as big up front as some of these other teams going to be. So I think that's going to be important to watch, how they rebound, how they can control the boards. So their defensive adjustment, their defense is going to have to improve too. I was watching this game, and Serbia was able to run these pick and rolls and back cut on the U.S. and get some easy baskets. So they definitely going to have to tighten up on that end, as well as on their turnovers. They had 17 turnovers. Quite a few of those went unforced too. So those are some things I think they got to work on. But I think, again, I said this previously, I think this team probably will win the gold medal, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy for them. I think, again, they ended up getting the 110-84 victory today over Serbia, over 20 points. But I think once you get to that second round, again, you got these teams you play in your pool. Again, they got Serbia and South Sudan, by the way, is in their pool. And let me say this. What's up, S. Jackson? Thanks for popping in. I see you. Make sure you share this. Tap that screen on TikTok. Tap that screen, share this live. I think the one thing that they're going to have to do, again, defensively, they're going to have to tighten it up. I don't have a problem. They're not going to have a problem offense. I mean, you got these guys, again. Durant came off the bench. He gave you 23. I think I would keep bringing him off the bench to have firepower with that second unit. And I think Joel Embiid will give them a defensive presence. They don't really need him to score. As long as he can defend, block shots, and grab rebounds, he and Anthony Davis, I think that's what they need from those two. I think Steph Curry is going to find his shot, but he's going to be a little bit of a liability on the defensive end, I think. Because, again, Serbia was able to run those back cuts off those high pick and rolls. So that's going to be something that the U.S., Steve Kerr and his staff, they're going to have to tighten that up in their next game. Now, we had some DNPs in this game. If you don't know what DNPs mean, it means they did not play, and coach's decision. And there were two Team USA members that did not play today. It's a 12-member roster. Well, Celtics Jason Tatum and the Pacers Tyrese Halliburton did not play today. And that is probably going to raise the eyebrows of a lot of Celtics fans, especially Jaylen Brown fans, because there's a little bit of controversy going on. If you hadn't heard, Jaylen Brown was not added to this team after Kawhi Leonard was basically stepped away, and they brought in his teammate Derek White. And a lot of people had issues with Jaylen Brown not being the guy to fill Kawhi Leonard's position, me being one of them. Well, Grant Hill, who is on the committee that puts Team USA together, he would do an interview, and I think with Dan Patrick, and he was asked about this. And his response, I would have to say, and Grant Hill is probably one of the most likable guys ever play in the NBA. I've always liked Grant Hill. I think he would have been that dude if he would have had the injuries. But his response was a little bit all over the place, and it didn't make sense on the reasoning why they chose Derek White over Jaylen Brown. Let's give you. I'm just gonna give it to you straight with no chaser. Jaylen Brown was the NBA Finals MVP. He was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And most people would say he is probably the most valuable player on that Celtic team. I know a lot of people say Jason Tatum. I think if you took a straw poll, I think if you asked Celtic fans, I think a lot of them would say Jaylen Brown. And the reason Grant Hill was basically saying that they were looking to replace Kawhi Leonard with a guy that could be more versatile on defense. They didn't necessarily need a guy that maybe played the 3 or the 4. They needed some guy like a Derek White that could give them a little bit of more defensive presence. Doesn't make sense to me. Okay, Grant, why Jaylen Brown could probably he's a pretty decent defender. He gives you another scorer too. So why I don't get that. So there's some politics in this because if you don't know, Jaylen Brown is the vice president, I believe, of the NBA Players Association. And he's known to speak his mind on difficult issues, on difficult topics. And then there's some big thing that Nike may have had something to do with Jaylen Brown not being a part of this team, which Nike, I think, is the official sponsor of the Team USA, one of the sponsors anyway. So that's been some controversy. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check it out. You can Google it. You can Jaylen Brown left off Team USA. Grant Hill, there's been a back and forth of between those two a little bit in social media. But again, I found it very interesting that the Team USA has 3 Boston Celtic team members on it. You have Jason Tatum, you have Drew Holiday, and you have Derek White, but you don't have the NBA Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown. There's always going to be some sort of politics going on in professional sports. So don't think it ain't. I know a lot of people think a lot of times it's rigged. I don't buy into those theories in as far as basketball, but I do believe politics does play a part in a lot of times when you building a team, especially when you're talking about building a team for the Olympics as well as for FIBA and those World Championships and all that. But again, Team USA got the big victory today, 110-84 over Serbia. They next play on Wednesday at 1:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. They will take on the team that almost upset them in exhibition play, South Sudan, who got their first win ever in Olympic history with a 90-79 win over Puerto Rico. Again, this was their first ever Olympic basketball victory while playing in its first Olympics. They were led by Kareem Jones with 19 points. Again, this South Sudan team got a couple of players that played in the NBA, that played in the G League as well. So don't think these guys don't think that what Gilbert Arenas. Don't listen to what he said about these dudes. They play South Sudan, Jack. Don't think that these guys can't play ball. Don't think that they shooting on peach baskets in bare feet on dirt, like Gilbert Arenas said. Don't believe that. So they play them on Wednesday, again, 1:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll see what happens from there. I think that's going to be a very interesting game. So let's move on to our next segment. We moving right along. We're talking about NFL news and notes. We had a lot of money being given away on Friday. If you missed it, a lot of money given away on Friday. The quarterbacks are getting a lot of cheddar. First of all, let's start off with Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. He ended up signing a 4-year, $212.4 million extension, which is the largest in Dolphins history. He will have an average salary of $53.1 million per year, and that includes $167 million of that $212.4 million guaranteed. He was 8th among quarterbacks as far as money guaranteed. He is 8th among the quarterbacks now. He did lead the NFL in passing yards last season with 4,624 yards, and he had 29 touchdowns. So again, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. A lot of people was kind of shaky on this. Should he be getting this type of money? Again, that's the marquee position in the NFL. Quarterback's going to get paid. They're going to be making that money. It just depends on, like I said, or I said this last week, The rapper Fat Joe said that today's price isn't tomorrow's price. And that is a very profound statement, because you got to figure out, if you're going to pay these guys today, if you wait and try to hold out and pay them a couple of years down the line, that market is going up. So you're going to probably pay a little bit more money and probably have to add a couple of more years to that contract too, to kind of level that money you're going to pay out. So again, the Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, 4 years, $212.4 million extension. And oh, by the way, it's funny, he's now making more money than his former teammate at the University of Alabama, Jalen Hurts. If you're watching me on YouTube or Facebook, there is in the ticker, I do have the top paid quarterbacks in the NFL in 2024. Again, Tua Tagovailoa now is like number 3, and Jalen Hurts is like number 8. So he's making more money now than his former teammate at Alabama. So let's talk about the other quarterback that made history. Oh, by the way, I got to do this. You know I got to do this. I got to show this Green Bay mug, because you know what? It's always a great day to be a Green Bay Packer fan. And if you don't know, now you know I am one. Jordan Love, he made history as well on Friday. He signed a 4-year, $220 million contract, which average annual salary for him would be $55 million. He also had a $75 million signing bonus, which is the largest signing bonus in NFL history. And a $155 million of that $220 million contract is fully guaranteed. And so there we have it now. Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers quarterback, gets paid. How do I think about that? Oh, by the way, he had a pretty good season last year, if I may add. He threw for 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He really picked this game up toward the middle of the season. He struggled probably the first 6-7 weeks, and I said he would. Then he found his groove. I see you laughing at me, Jack. You know it's always a great day to be a Packers fan. Make sure y'all share the live, tap that screen on TikTok. So Jordan Love, he gets paid too. So my thoughts on that, again, these quarterbacks gonna get that money, like I just said a minute ago. Either you're gonna pay them now, you're gonna pay them later, and you're probably gonna pay a little bit more later. So you might as well do it now while the market is somewhat low. Add a couple of years to that contract, give them a little bit more guaranteed money, give them a little bit more signing bonus money, and then down the line you can kind of balance that out. He made the playoffs in his first year as a starter, which, you know, we already know what happened down there in Lombardi, AT&T Lombardi Stadium. I call it AT&T Lombardi South because the Packers might as well call AT&T Stadium home for them. You know what happened in that wild card playoff game. It was 48-32. Jordan Love had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a really, really solid game, and he really should have ended up winning that game in San Fran. They played the Niners pretty tough too. They just couldn't pull it out. But again, that's another quarterback that got paid. So now we talk about all these quarterbacks that have gotten these big-time contracts, these big-time extensions. Again, if you're watching me on YouTube and on Facebook, you can see in the ticker the top 12 paid quarterbacks in the NFL. If you want to switch over to that, do that so you can see what's going on in the ticker. Now, the number one at number 12, I'm going to go ahead and give you the rundown. Chiefs Patrick Mahomes, he's number 12, highest paid quarterback in the league at $45 million. This is average per year. Number 11 is the Falcons' Kirk Cousins at $45 million per year. Number 10 is Deshaun Watson of the Browns, $45 million. And number 9 is the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, $46 million. And number 8 is the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, $51 million. And number 7, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, reigning MVP, NFL MVP, $52 million. Justin Herbert is number 4. Then number 5, number 4 is Tua Tagovailoa. $53.1 million. Again, the Packers, Jordan Love is number 3, $55 million. Number 2 is the Bengals at Joe Burrow, $55 million. And number 1 is the Jaguars, Lawrence. He is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at $55 million per year. So, you know, there's some names on that list that you probably say, why in the hell are they the highest paid? And I would tell you this. I always say it's not, people say, I wouldn't pay this person that much. I always say that you're worth what anybody is going to pay you. So again, a quarterback market in the NFL, it is what it is. So that's where we at. So the name is why is Patrick Mahomes number 12 on this list? Well, they've already kind of worked some deals out. He's kind of been like the Tom Brady. He's kind of not wanting to get more money just to kind of keep money for the team to help them to build. But eventually, the Chiefs are going to have to come around and pay Patrick Mahomes because High is the 3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time MVP. Looking to three-peat, if he does that, will be the first time in NFL history. Why is he the number 12 paid quarterback in the league at $45 million per year? And oh, by the way, if you wonder where the other top two quarterbacks that most people talk about in the league, where they rank, Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, and the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Both of them are. Dak Prescott only makes $40 million per year at this point, and Josh Allen makes $43 million per year. So they are definitely on the low end. Now, Dak Prescott is looking to work out, he and the Cowboys in talks, work out an extension, because if they don't, at the end of this year, Dak would be a free agent. And also that he also has a no trade and a no tag clause in his contract. So he has the leverage. So again, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, he's only making $40 million. Bills quarterback Josh Allen is making $43.005 million. So they are not even in the top 12. They round 17 or 18 when you talk about average salary per year. So we're going to see what happens with them. Again, the Cowboys are talking to Dak Prescott, he and his agent, and see what they can work out, as well as they talking with their top wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. According to reports on Friday, the Cowboys' Stephen Jones, who was the CEO, said the team has submitted another proposal to wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Who wants to be in the range of Justin Jefferson, who reset the market for wide receivers at $35 million per season. He's looking to get around $33-34 million. So we'll see what happens with that. If not, he will continue to hold out. Well, that is CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys. Now, another NFL news. Denver Broncos, they looking for a quarterback. What is Sean Payton going to do with his quarterback? He basically sabotaged and shipped Russell Wilson out. They did trade for Zach Wilson from the Jets. They drafted Bo Nix. Reports are coming out of Denver saying that the Broncos look like Sean Payton is wanting Nix to be the guy. But they are splitting reps between him and Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham. They are splitting reps in camp right now. So will Bo Nix end up being the guy? My personal opinion, I think he probably will end up being the starter before it's all said and done. I don't think Zach Wilson is that guy. He's probably a good backup. And Jarrett Stidham has already proven that's what he is in this league too. So Bo Nix will probably end up being the starter there in Denver. Now, Steelers, talk about the Steelers and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, he's been held out of camp the last couple of days with a calf injury. So Justin Fields has been getting the majority of the work. That's a good thing for the Steelers. I think Justin Fields needs to get as much work as he can because we all know Russell Wilson only signed a one-year deal with the Steelers. I think they did that because they want him to groom Justin Fields. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think you'll see that. I think you're probably going to see Justin Fields get a lot more snaps. We only got 3 preseason games, so I'm quite sure he's going to probably see the majority of the preseason, at least the last 2 games anyway. I'm sure they're going to get Russell Wilson in because they want him to work, get used to their new offensive scheme. So that is our NFL news and notes and rumors. I don't think there's any other rumors that's out there right now. But we're gonna move to our last segment, and this is definitely not a rumor. This might could get ugly. I first reported that we knew that the NBA was looking to get a new contract deal with their media partners, and they had proposals out there. Where on Wednesday, NBA decided to go with ABC, Disney, and ESPN. NBC is back in the mix now. And Amazon. And guess who was left out in the dark? Well, TNT was left out in the dark because Amazon presented a $1.8 million package to the NBA and Commissioner Adam Silver. Well, the previous contract, which isn't up until this season, again, TNT will still air NBA games the 2024-2025 season, but that's when their contract expires. But in that contract, the Warner Brothers, Discovery, TNT, they had a right to match any other the other offers. Well, they did match the package of Amazon. They did match the $1.8 billion. I believe they did match it on Thursday. Then on Friday, the NBA said, nah, we good. We're going with Amazon. We sticking with Amazon. Then the Warner Brothers Discovery said, nope. Well, okay, you're going to do that? Guess what? We're going to file. We're going to sue you. So TNT now, Warner Brothers Discovery, they filed in New York on Friday. They filed suit on behalf of themselves against the NBA for breach of contract. So now this is going to court, and so now this probably is going to get a little ugly. My thoughts on this, at the end of the day, as a business, the NBA is a business. I think you go with whatever package that you find that is the best for your business, that gives your business the best exposure. And we all know that streaming services is the game. That is the game now. We know Netflix has gotten into the sports streaming service. They're going to be airing a couple of NFL games, I believe. Amazon is already in the NFL business. They do Thursday night football, and they got some other games that they're going to be doing, I think, on Black Friday. But the NBA has said, you know what? We want to get a piece of that pie, too. We want this $78.6 billion contracts we got with these media giants. We want to make sure we get the most bang for our buck. So, again, at the end of the day, it's always business, never personal. But I think that TNT dropped the ball. That I'm saying their execs, I think they dropped the ball on this like maybe a year or two ago when they really could have had their place solidified. They opened up the game for the Amazon Primes and the Netflix and these streaming services to come in. So what happens with the inside the NBA? At this point, Chuck said that he was going to retire at the end of this NBA season, but now I was reading stuff that he's open to listen to other networks, i.e. ESPN, Amazon, or whatever, to continue. What will happen with Ernie Johnson, who is the host of that show, the guy that drives the bus? According to reports, he's loyal to Warner Brothers TNT. So he most likely, he's not going to leave TNT for Amazon or for ESPN or NBC for that matter. As far as Kenny the Jet Smith, no word on what he's going to do. That I hadn't heard. He hadn't said much, nor has Shaq said much. But can they keep this core group together? Can Chuck has mentioned that he could keep them together under his production company, and they could basically freelance their services out. That's a possibility. So we don't know what's going to happen with this, but we do know that Warner Brothers Discovery has said, you know what, we're not going away easily. We suing you. So they did file that in New York on Friday. And so we're going to continue to watch this and monitor this and see what happens between the NBA and TNT. So again, I sure hate the inside the NBA is going to be gone, because let's be honest, man, that's the best in-studio show, post-game and pre-game on air, bar none. They the most entertaining. It's like you watching your uncles sit around talking at the barbershop or whatnot. So we'll hate to see inside the NBA go from TNT, but we would love for it to reappear on NBC or Amazon if they make that happen. So there you have it. So we're down to my freestyle moment where I just kind of talk about stuff off the top of the dome. But I'm gonna say something real quick. I gotta mention about they call it a GWOAT now, the greatest woman of all time. If you into women's boxing, and I'm not that much into it, I keep my eye on it. I don't really watch the women because I hate seeing women I hate seeing them hitting each other in the face like that. Their faces are so, well, some of their faces aren't all that, but they got beautiful faces. I don't want to see them getting all scarred up. But I got to mention Claressa Shields last night. She did her thing in Detroit. She's from Flint, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Well, she won the vacant WBO light heavyweight title and the WBC heavyweight belt in Detroit again last night with a second round TKO over Vanessa LePage Jonassy. I may have mispronounced her name, but she put her on the deck 3 times, and it was really, it was nasty. I watched the highlights, and she lights out. She looked like a mini Tyson in there. And she moved up in weight too, by the way. She doesn't normally fight at heavyweight. She moved up 2 weight classes, matter of fact. So that moves her record to 15-0. That is Claressa Shields, 3 KOs. She moved up again to win a world title in a 4th and 5th weight class. So I had to give a shout out to Claressa Shields, who is right now. I mean, I think when you think about women boxers, you know, outside of Layla Ali, and a lot of people now are saying that they put her, they stack her over her, because we know Layla hasn't fought in 10 years. So, but this Claressa Shields, this sister girl she's doing her thing for sure. So I just want to salute her on getting that big W in the D, that is Detroit, on last night. So that is the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for popping in on TikTok. If you pop in and watch this on YouTube and Facebook later, please share this to your social media platforms. Please click that like button, subscribe. And if you like to contribute to the channel, my Cash App is right there. You're not obligated, but it will help me continue to build. I'm invested in myself, because ain't nobody going to believe in you but you. If you would, my Cash App, $1969 Kendrick. You're not obligated, but you can also contribute there. And there's also, if you're watching on YouTube, it's also a little $ where you can click that and you can contribute it to there as well. So again, you're not obligated, but hey, man, I'm just a brother that loves sports, that's trying to build his own. Sometimes you got to create your own opportunities when those opportunities are presented to you. You know, when you feel like that you should get it. So again, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I don't want to preach, but again, there's a lot of people out in these content creators that's creating their own opportunities, because they're probably a lot better than a lot of people that you see on your mainstream media, but they just aren't given the opportunity. So again, there you have it. So again, that's going to be my show, but I got to say this before I get out of here. Again, make sure you like and subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube. Follow TFG Sports Media on Facebook, as well as Kendrick Sports. Also subscribe to that as well. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. That is Kendrick1969, as well as on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. Do all that. But I got to say, shout out to my brother, second son, my baby brother, Kaleem Bey. It's a day before, but on tomorrow will be his 48th trip around the sun. So I had to give a shout out to my baby bro. There's only 2 of us. I got to wish him a happy early born day. Your big bro is proud of you. And also, you can put Arthur, that is Author, in front of his name, because he has written his first book, and it will be released here pretty soon. I will keep you posted on that as well. So I got to shout out a happy born day to my baby bro Kaleem, which he will celebrate his 48th trip around the sun on tomorrow. And that is Carolyn's, our late mother, Carolyn's second son. That is J9. That is J9 Productions in the house. So again, I want to thank everybody for watching here on YouTube and on Facebook. I am Kendrick, the Sports Guy. You can catch me here every Sunday at 4:00 p.m. You guys make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the other side, and you guys have a great rest of your evening and great start to your week. I am out. Peace.